On agenda would be, is this the one we don't know? This isn't. So Beaver Lakefront Clarement LLC, Lebanon, New Hampshire, application for an area variance from section 22.389 to exceed residential density limits to convert a laundromat into an 8-dwelling unit on 145 North Street, tax map 107, lot 328, zoning district PR. Folks, can you, thank you. I can look like that too. Yeah. Can I have a butters roll call, please?
Beaver Lakefront Clarement LLC. The Crazy Fox Family Trust 2022, Jean-Pierre Bourque, trustee. Stephen Gregoire, Nima Holdings LLC. Farhan Yacoub, Manfred C. Borchuk, trustee, Manfred C. Borchuk 2008 Oak Trust. Eric Stacy.
Please proceed.
The project site is a 0.24 acre or 10,600 square foot lot at the intersection of North Street and Chellis Street. There is a 14,914 square foot building on the lot that is currently mixed use with 7 residential units and a ground floor laundromat. I want to note, at the time of application, I understand the laundromat has since closed. A former owner received site plan approval and all proper permits to convert a former knick-knack store into a laundromat between 2007 and 2008. The building has also housed other commercial uses, such as a beauty shop and barber shop in the 1980s. The main structure and accessory building are both built within required setbacks, so the lot has non-conforming setbacks on its southwest, southeast, and northeast sides. These are existing and legal non-conformances. The property has enough land area to permit 2 dwelling units under the residential density requirements of the PR district. The 7 dwelling units exist under existing legal non-conforming density. The property is otherwise in conformance with all other zoning regulations of the CR2 district. Apologies, the PR district. The applicant wishes to convert the laundromat into 1 new dwelling unit. The dimensional regulations of the PR district require 5,000 square feet per dwelling unit, meaning that 8 units would require 40,000 square feet. The lot being 10,600 square feet is 29,400 square feet short of the dimensional requirement for 8 units and thus requires a variance. The applicant has provided plans for the proposed interior renovation, which are included in the application before you. Multifamily dwellings require 1 space per unit in the city center, so an 8-unit building will need 8 spaces. The current parking area has more than 8 spaces, and the applicant owns property across the street, which may be used for off-site parking. If the variance is granted, the proposed conversion will involve a change of use from mixed use to multifamily residential with more than 3 units, which will require either site plan review for the planning board or a waiver thereof if deemed appropriate. The application is solely for the purpose of allowing 8 dwelling units in an existing building on a lot non-conforming with maximum residential density requirements of the PR district. Thank you.
Step up to the mic. No. Your name and state your name and all that good stuff for us, please.
My name is Eric Stacy. I'm the managing member of Beaver Lakefront Properties, which is the parent corporation for Beaver Lakefront Clarement. I live in Lebanon, New Hampshire. There has been some change since the original application. I was concerned that what triggered this was that my insurance company said we're no longer going to insure a mixed-use building. And I said, can you find any other carriers who will? I don't know if I forwarded the letter to Austin, and so the board is aware of this, that as of February 24th, I had to close the laundromat and am unable to insure the building as a mixed-use building. I have been in contact with the regional hospital. The laundromat had a perfectly compliant ADA accessible ramp, and so I would like to convert this into a two-bedroom ADA apartment. And like I said, I was talking to the discharge department of the local hospital so that when it comes on the market, it can actually be utilized by somebody who needs this. I have remodeled ADA units in the past, so I'm completely familiar with the requirements and have actually built 2 of them, so this isn't out of my wheelhouse. And therefore, I request the variance. And if we were to, I mean, I just can't insure it, but the old problems that were stated was that people from the laundromat would park in the tenant places. This causes, friction between the residents and the commercial traffic. And, I mean, there is no commercial traffic possible now. I'm simply going to have to leave the space vacant because I can't insure it. So that's the situation, and I'm requesting the variance. I hope you will grant it so that we can increase. I mean, it's already non-conforming, but there are enough parking places, and I will be also sprinkling the building. Adding a. Well, that's the jargon, meaning that I'm going to put in a fire suppression system that involves sprinkled systems. Hopefully, that's sufficient information. Do you have any questions for me?
Enough parking spots?
Isn't the parking double stacked? It's not individual, you got double and triple stack parking.
Currently, there are 5 covered stalls and 1 stall that is uncovered. The 2 spaces that have been dedicated to the laundromat will now be available for tenant use. So there will be 1 complete unstacked, if you mean parking behind each other. There will be 1 complete unstacked unit for without crossing Chella Street for every proposed building in every proposed unit
There would be
in the building.
8 on site. is
Yeah,
what you're
I went by Trellis Street this morning. It looks like people were parking there now because it's all very smutty and wheel tracks. And so they use that pretty commonly, people parking on Trellis?
There are 2 tenants currently that have more than 1 car. So they park across the street. The other vehicles that you observed were not from my building. It is an ongoing issue that I have with other landlords in the area, allowing their tenants to park there. I have had a few cars towed. It's a minor annoyance, but.
Is that a buildable lot?
Pardon me?
Is that a buildable lot? Could you put a big structure on that lot across the street?
I would like to, honestly, but if it is.
So if you built there, you'd lose that parking.
That is correct. And if it is a condition of I'm currently paying the taxes on it and dealing with it. If 8 units and 8 parking places is not something that the board wants to approve, I will accept whatever limitations you need to put on to get the commercial space converted into what I need it to be. I agree that, the benefit of sprinkling the building is that there are currently 6 2-bedrooms and 2 1-bedrooms. So obviously 8 places is not a practical solution for that if you have 2 people that have, multiple cars. So using the building, continuing to use the lot across the street for parking is not a problem for me. It's how I bought the building. I don't see the need to change. I could change, but that's if you want to put a restriction on it, I don't care. I need out of the bind I'm in now.
Hey, question.
Yes, sir.
How many square feet is this apartment going to be?
Good question. I think it's approximately 900. Let me refer to this.
I can't make the numbers out, so.
Yeah.
And then while you're looking at that, Mr. Ford, so it says it was legally non-compliant property already, so that means he already had the variance approval to have the 7 apartments in there.
Grandfather.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
more of a
Sorry,
grandfather.
I'm new, so I'm just learning.
Is that the first floor?
Looks like it's closer to 800, but I'm having to add up the architects.
The whole first
I
floor.
mean, it's sloppy that they didn't put a total square feet on it.
Top.
The main area is 694 square feet, and then there are additional rooms totaling
Am I looking at that right or no?
about 75.
'Cause there's the center doorway.
So
I'm
we're
also
up,
having trouble reading the numbers.
yeah, okay, I see,
This is where the
694,
laundry
oh, right,
stuff
plus
is
these
right
other
now. What the
ones,
hell's over here now?
750, 760. Yeah, I think I'm right at 800.
5.
If it helps, that meets the
I mean, I can
requirement.
turn it into a one-bedroom,
That's what I
but
was
my
gonna
thought was that by having a 2-bedroom there, it would give us the ability for, I mean, a lot of handicapped people need a caretaker. And so I have been, the intention here was to design it so that the handicapped person would have the primary bedroom, but there would be a caretaker bedroom of 114 square feet, which is a pretty decent size for a bedroom by standards up
You
here.
know, I guess the only problem I have is we have those 5 criteria, unnecessary hardship. And pretty much, I'm trying to get around how this is not a financial thing, you know? That another apartment, I understand, but it has to be,
Hardship ain't there.
No. The fact, in the fact of not getting insurance, that's a financial, I'm sure, and don't take this the wrong way, because I've been in this position, you can purchase insurance for anything. It is there, you just have to look for it, and sometimes it's totally ridiculous. There's no,
Okay.
it's a big building, it's not, there's,
Let's go back to the original application. Let's say that I can somehow, without regard to finances, find somebody, Lloyd's of London or whoever, to insure it, and that I'm willing to take that loss. Let's look at what happens to the tenants. We will still have commercial traffic coming in. There will still be the arguments in the parking lot over, oh, I'm only here to visit. Say, we could even get a lawyer to move in there. I'm only here talking to my attorney for a couple of hours, so of course I'm not going to park across the street. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read what was clearly posted on the side of the building, and I'm not supposed to be in this lot. There has been significant friction between the tenants and the commercial traffic. Perhaps that would reduce if the quality of the commercial traffic was improved, but I don't have that vendor yet. The other thing that I'm not quite certain about is why have they all refused to insure me? Perhaps it's, they're relatively large corporations. Perhaps they have data feeds from the police reports of Claremont, where you will see significant interaction between the police report and my tenants. My tenants have made numerous, complaints to the police about the vandalism that has happened within the laundromat. I have made numerous complaints. To the Claremont Police Department's credit, the last time that there was a significant incident, they surrounded the laundromat with 3 cruisers and were able to trap all of the juveniles inside. They went back to, I'm assuming, their parents and said, this is what's going on. I have not had any trouble since then from the juveniles.
I'll knock on wood for you.
Yeah, thank you. But I don't know that, my point is that the hardship of commercial continued use is also an expenditure of city resources, which has nothing to do to me, nothing particularly to do with me, other than the increase in my taxes of 100% on the building.
Well, the intention of this ordinance is to decrease overcrowding. This home, today's zoning wouldn't exist on that lot.
Right, I agree.
So basically, that's why they put zoning in, to try to eliminate and minimize this. I mean, that lot, that building, that area couldn't be, the other apartments could be made larger. We're going to have 7 apartments, but you're going to have a bigger 5th, 6th, and 7th. You don't have to make it an apartment. You could incorporate it into the structure.
All right, well, then I will go ahead and throw somebody out and make it into a 3-bedroom. Because, I mean, that's what I'm going to have to do. And then,
We're locked into the rules we have to follow. The State of New Hampshire Office of State of Planning says, this is how you do a zoning. These are the hardship, these are the tests, these are the criteria you use. I personally don't see how you fit in that box. And maybe the other members do, but I'm only one vote, and everybody's going to vote. But that's how I'd like to be able to help you, but I still don't see the hardship. You could use the property as it is, bigger apartments. And unfortunately, I hate to making those decisions, but that's how I feel we have to, everybody needs to be treated the same. We look at everybody the same way.
The restructuring that they've done in the past number of years, and a lot of it has been around the overcrowding, if you would call it, the over population in square footage of buildings.
Trying to fit dumpsters and cars.
Just trying to get everything in a uniform fashion, getting the old ones. I mean, we have homes that people have come in that are more than large enough that they could house 2, but it's not permitted because it doesn't fit the criteria that has been set forth for us to follow. And the fact of anything financial, we can't use for consideration. Unfortunately, that's just one of the things with this. The other, the spirit of the ordinance is to, from the point of when they change it or make adjustments, that's what they want from that point forward. We don't want to continue doing things the old way and creating problems. Unfortunately for you, it sounds like you bought something with some problems that you're going to have the luck of nestling your way through and figuring them out. I have to agree with Mike. Unfortunately, I don't see, other than financial for you, that we can have a legal hardship.
so how exactly are we supposed to achieve our city goals, or maybe they're not Claremont city goals, of lower consumption of resources on a per capita basis if we don't increase the density? I mean, seriously, you have the sewer, you have the power, you have everything you need there to house somebody who might need it. You're within a half mile of the hospital, but because, and I literally cannot use the space because it is uninsurable. But, I mean, this is why the New Hampshire legislature is probably going to come down and take your power away from you, because you've got this strange tunnel vision that I just frankly don't understand. Yeah, I get it, because, I'm on the Lebanon Planning Commission. I have been in your seat. I'm in your seat right now. I have watched the zoning board up there bend over backwards to make the practical thing happen. You are just not even thinking outside the box.
If I may jump in just to intervene and interpret, I think that the argument is being made that There is no fair or substantial relationship that exists between the general public purposes of the sections of the ordinance from which relief is sought and the specific application of the sections to the property. I think that's what Mr. Stacy is getting
It has
at.
to meet all five.
Correct. That's a
We can,
different portion.
That is the fifth one. There is no general fair relationship. You have non-conforming properties all over the place. I'm living next to a 15-plex that was granted by the zoning board as a non-conforming, it's in a duplex, it's at a single-family residence, but it was, in 2002, it was allowed to turn a 6-plex into a 15-plex as a special exception to a non-conforming use. You can do whatever you want to. It's what you choose to do. It's your personal set of guidelines.
No, it's not personal.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. We have a set of guidelines, and I mean, if you're not happy with what's presented to you, unfortunately, you have to go further up the food chain.
I will go further up the food chain. That is absolutely no problem. And if you enjoy having an article in the newspaper about how you're turning down another handicapped
Sure.
unit on some, no. You can figure a way to
have-
this just as the way that he said. There is no
have to meet
substantial,
all five.
who's talking? Are you
You have to
talking or
meet
am I talking?
all 5 criteria.
And the fifth
Never mind just the 5th. You have 4 other ones still to meet that we haven't discussed.
Well, please
Which
discuss them.
we touch base on one of them for you. But the main thing is, us as a board, or a few of us have related to you, that we don't see the hardship other than a financial hardship. You're saying that we should do because the city of Lebanon does, because the city of Concord, the city of Keene does. Well, unfortunately, we went through a couple lawsuits that have gone, and this is where the guidelines that we have.
Yeah, one of those lawsuits is actually why we're trying to approve a variance to our zoning to allow the, halfway houses, those sober houses, something like that, because, yeah, you're going through a fair number of lawsuits right now because you don't have a zoning restriction on what constitutes a halfway house. So we're going to put one of those in so that they all have to be registered in Lebanon. So thank you for the example of all the lawsuits.
If I may, for the public record, we're doing that too. Just to intervene and maybe bring I understand that everyone's feeling quite passionate about the subject.
That
That
would.
would,
From the applicant, maybe close the meeting, we'll discuss that.
Does anybody have any other questions for the applicant by what's presented?
No.
Thank you. We'll call the public hearing closed. Discussion of the board.
Review the criteria.
If we don't have any discussion of the board, we will go to our criteria. And under number 1, it explained granting the variance would not be contrary to public interest. Public interest, to me, would also relate to the spirit of the ordinance. The spirit of the ordinance was crafted through our plan to prevent an abundance of overburdened pieces of property. That's why they have the 5,000 square foot per dwelling unit, so you have the common area and you have the density factors that are being met. Is this a good plan? Every plan's a good plan. But as far as for contrary to public interest, it's going, and there again, I want to combine 1 and 2 because public interest and the spirit of the ordinance is where we're having the problem. If we were to grant what this is, in my opinion, we're going against the spirit of the ordinance.
We're trying to add, 5,000 square feet of land is not very much land area per unit. And this is gonna be approximately what, 1,250, 1,300 square feet per unit as proposed? I mean, that's 1/4 of the required area, land area per unit on the property, you know?
You have nine units, right, total?
I don't see where that meets the spirit of the ordinance or to prevent overcrowding. It is going to increase the crowding. If they would absorb that apartment within the building, it's going to decrease the crowding or leave it vacant, unfortunately, but that's an expense for the owner, but I don't know how we can approve this and under either one of those. Criterion 3?
Yep.
I mean, I don't think there's he's gonna lose an apartment. And honestly, on the flip side, I don't know if substantial justice is being done, though. I mean, you can have the spirit of the ordinance, but help me here.
I can assist if you'd like.
I'm just thinking that gain to the public.
The gain to the public would be as if he did an
Less crowded.
ADA. The gain would be you'd have another marketable unit. Mr. Hemingway.
But he would also sprinkle the other units in there,
Which
which would make that a safer. He's already an approved over,
it's already approved for
Populated.
7, right? Because
right,
it's
and
always-
adding one more and then sprinkling them all.
But there is
That is a little bit of a benefit, and I know it's not a huge benefit, but it is one benefit to Claremont that it is adding one, and they are ADA. It's just my thoughts, but again, you have to go by the spirit of the.
But there is a parking problem there. The people that owned it prior, plowed land, the guy from Woodstock built that. I did the work there. I put the water in, I put the sewer in, I built the ramp. We did the inside of the building, and it was a real chore for us to work there with the parking. People were bickering the whole time, and we weren't even parking in the parking lot. So, I mean, the parking is an issue. I can't imagine it's any better now. That was before the laundromat was in there. We were,
But the requirement is to have one per apartment, is the state. is the-
1.5 and
1.5.
1.5. So you would have to have
One.
12. It's one.
It's one
It's
per.
changed, yeah,
Only one now?
that's what I thought.
Okay.
When they go back.
So he has
and that happened.
sufficient parking.
Diminishing surrounding values, that's not a question. It's not going to diminish them. And then you have your hardship issue, which we've touched base on. My unfortunate view is the hardship boils down to financial. There's no other way to bend it. I don't see how you can bend it and not have somebody go the other way. To say that you didn't financially bend it so that you bent the rules so financially he's going to gain. Grant you, he's going to put sprinklers in, kudos, that's great, that's wonderful. I wish every landowner in Claremont would do that.
How can I pay what it cost me
Sir?
$200,000 to do everything?
The public hearing's closed, sir, sorry.
Now, is sprinkling required because of the number of units? Because it's 8, right?
Austin?
They're supposed
So if you had 7, you don't need that.
No,
No, it's 4.
it's
Yeah,
4.
I believe it's 4.
Actually, it's 3. 3 and above have to be sprinkled now, I believe.
So by making this change, he's forced to sprinkle.
I can't confirm
Yeah,
that,
so
well,
that's-
possibly, but that's a question for the building department.
Okay, so no, it's being done because it has to be done up. So if it stays the way it is, it's not going to be sprinkled. So basically, so you're sprinkling it because, okay, I'm just trying to.
think another part of like the unnecessary hardship issue is like, it's still a usable space if you do maintain the 7 units, correct? So as long as there's only 7 units and you shuffle it around,
Yeah.
then it still is a space
Yeah,
that's
I mean, I don't think,
usable.
I don't think we're depriving him use of it. We're just depriving him of not the highest economic use of it.
I agree with what she says.
And it could
It's-
be like more profitable if it's a bigger space for a unit, you know, then you have a family paying X amount.
But, I mean, I'd like to be able, I just having a hard time at number 5. We're not depriving him of reasonable use of the land. He's got 7 units in there now. Not allowing 8 is not, and he's sorry. You know, we're cheating you out of your use. I don't know.
I can agree with you on that, Mike. Whereas it is a business district, if I say, because that's a path through for all the commercial, right? There are commercial properties on there. In Pleasant Street, you have a storefront, and then you have
You have
apartments
mixed
above.
use, right.
So I see what you're saying, Mike.
And what happens when their insurance is denied? You think I'm an outlier? It's just a matter of when the renewal date is.
So with our discussions, do I have a motion?
Where's the paperwork?
Make a motion to deny application ZO 2025-000002 by Eric Stay for the variance from section 22-389 of the zoning ordinance to allow 8 dwelling units in a building at 145 North Street, parcel 107-328 on the following conditions. It did not meet the hardships.
Can we
You want to add to it?
maybe tighten that up? Yeah, we just, that the applicant hasn't demonstrated the unnecessary hardship portion. We don't believe there's a taking of his rights by not allowing an 8th unit in that building. It could be used, you know, the way it is, as a 7-unit building with less, you know, larger apartments or less density. There are other options that could be considered for use of the property. I don't think we're depriving of reasonable use of the land.
So we have a motion, do I have a second? Was you're tightening it up the second?
Well, I wanted to add that. Yeah.
I'll second.
Yes, yeah.
Pardon me, could we just clarify the language of the motion? Just,
Yes, Jim, it failed on the spirit of the ordinance was to allow, it failed on criterion 2, criterion 1 and criterion 2 based on, the spirit of the ordinance, the public interest is to decrease the density and try to limit overcrowding of properties. It failed on criterion 1 and 2 based on Mike, am I not correct, Mike? Yes. And criterion 5, unnecessary hardship. Enforcement of the ordinance isn't going to deprive the owner of reasonable use of the land. It can be used, you know, as it is, as a 7-unit apartment. And we don't feel that it met the unnecessary hardship criteria.
So we have a motion. Actually, John, you're an alternate. I can't take your second. So we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Not for me.
Richard will second it. Motion by Mr. Petron, seconded by Mr. Collins. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Yep. Opposed.
Opposed. You have
I'm for.
30 days to appeal.
How do you expect Claremont to dig itself out of the hole it's in if you don't consider the economic welfare of each individual cell of the entity that is Claremont? If we're going to lose money, people are going to leave this city. You already have a bad reputation out there. You have the hardest building department to deal with, although that has not been my personal experience. I have been advised by realtors to sell quickly and sell now, to get the hell out before it gets worse. Seriously, I understand that the rules sort of say that you can't take economic considerations in. You're gonna die. That's how it works.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
Can't.
Pretty much.
Next item,
Maybe a surprise.
is it Juan Guman? Okay. Acosta, 14 Trinity Street. Application for area variance from 389 to exceed residential density. Limits are allowed a third dwelling unit at 14 Trinity Street, tax map 119, lot 329, zoning district CR2. Have about his roll call, please.
Juan Diego Guaman Acosta, Thomas Colburn, Melissa Dubois, Jeanette Letman, Trace Antonoro, Samanatha Antonoro, Pleasant Valley Properties LLC, Gravel Road LLC, Melissa Corbo, Joseph Simino Jr., 21 Trinity Holdings LLC, Harbor Homes Inc.